Lithuania, a small Baltic state often overlooked on the global map, is making headlines for something that many people never imagined possible. At the very edge of Europe, where NATO meets Russia, Lithuania has embarked on a project so bold that it has rattled Moscow and drawn the world's attention. This is not a country with vast armies, enormous wealth, or endless natural resources. Instead, it is a nation of fewer than 3 million people, but it has chosen to act with courage, foresight, and defiance at a time when the entire region is being tested by war and uncertainty. What Lithuania is building on its border with Russia and Belarus is more than just a wall. It is a symbol of independence, a technological marvel, and perhaps the clearest example of how even small nations can play a decisive role in the balance of global power. The story begins with geography. Lithuania sits in a critical location, bordered by Poland to the south, Latvia to the north, Belarus to the east, and Russia's heavily militarized Kaliningrad region to the west. This geography places Lithuania directly in the crosshairs of Moscow's ambitions. For decades, Russia has treated the Baltic states as vulnerable territories, often attempting to undermine them with propaganda, cyber attacks, and even military intimidation. Lithuania has lived under the shadow of Russian aggression for generations, and history has taught it one. On the exterior, what Lithuania has constructed appears to be a large-scale defensive border system. Unlike simple fences that you might expect to see in other parts of the world, this structure is layered and multifaceted. Tall fences stretch across sensitive areas of the border, reinforced with steel and barbed wire. Watchtowers rise above the landscape, equipped with powerful cameras and thermal imaging systems that can detect movement even in the dead of night. Roads along the barrier have been reinforced to allow quick deployment of military vehicles. Even drones are integrated into the surveillance network, patrolling the skies and feeding live data back to control centers. To anyone approaching from the Russian or Belarusian side, the sight of this barrier is intimidating. It sends a message without words. Lithuania is alert, ready, and unwilling to be caught off guard. Inside the system, however, lies the true sophistication of this project. Beneath the surface, fiber optic cables and advanced wiring connect the entire defense line. This infrastructure allows real-time communication between sensors, cameras, and command stations. At critical points along the border, command centers are staffed around the clock by trained personnel who monitor screens filled with live feeds, heat maps, and sensor alerts. These hubs are small, compact, and designed for functionality rather than comfort. The interior design reflects Lithuania's no-nonsense approach: efficiency, security, and speed of response. In the event of a breach, alerts are triggered instantly, and border forces can be on the move within minutes. This interior system is not luxurious, but it doesn't need to be. It is a nerve center built entirely for protection. Performance is where Lithuania's project truly shines. Since its implementation, the number of illegal crossings and unauthorized movements across the border has dropped dramatically. Smuggling operations that once exploited weak points in the boundary have been disrupted. Migrant flows orchestrated by Belarus as a form of hybrid warfare have been slowed to a crawl. The system has proven its ability to function in all weather conditions, whether in freezing Baltic winters or during heavy rainstorms. With cameras and sensors feeding constant data, Lithuania's border guards now operate with a level of awareness and speed that rivals much larger nations. What makes the performance remarkable is not just the technology itself, but how seamlessly it has been integrated with NATO's broader defense framework. If unusual activity is detected, the information does not stay confined within Lithuania. It is shared instantly with allies, ensuring that the entire region is prepared for any escalation. Safety is another pillar of this border system. Lithuania has designed the project with layers of redundancy, meaning that if one part of the system is disabled, others remain functional. Backup power supplies ensure that even during blackouts or deliberate sabotage attempts, the defenses continue running. Patrol routes are randomized so that no potential intruder can predict where border forces will be. Safety is not only about keeping the nation secure from hostile actors, it is also about protecting Lithuania's citizens who live with the daily reality of being next door to an aggressive power. By creating such a robust defensive barrier, Lithuania has given its people a sense of confidence and reassurance. They know that their government is actively safeguarding them, and they know that NATO support stands behind every wire, sensor, and tower built along that border. What makes this project stand out, however, are its unique selling points. Many countries have built border walls, but Lithuania's is unique in combining physical barriers with cutting-edge digital integration. This is not simply a fence with guards. It is a complete defense ecosystem. The psychological effect is also one of its unique strengths. For Russia, it serves as a constant reminder that even the smallest of its neighbors are no longer vulnerable or passive. For NATO, it is a demonstration that alliance members are taking their responsibilities seriously, investing heavily in their own security rather than relying solely on others. Another unique factor is symbolism. Lithuania has lived through occupation, annexation, and Soviet domination in the past. This border system is not just about technology or defense. It is about reclaiming dignity, independence, and the right to decide their own future without interference. The price of this system has been significant. Lithuania, with its modest economy, has poured hundreds of millions of euros into building and maintaining the project. Critics argue that such spending places a strain on public finances, money that could have been spent on healthcare, education, or infrastructure. But supporters counter that without security, none of those other priorities would matter. The investment, they argue, is not an expense, but an insurance policy. For a country bordering both Russia and Belarus, the threat is not hypothetical. It is a daily reality. So, compared to the devastating costs of war, occupation, or destabilization, the price of building and maintaining this border system is a small one. NATO and the European Union have also provided financial and technical assistance, recognizing that Lithuania's defenses are not just for itself, but for the stability of the entire region. In conclusion, what Lithuania has done on the Russian border is more than a construction project. It is a declaration of resilience. It shows that size does not determine strength, and population numbers do not dictate courage. By investing in cutting-edge defenses, by integrating with allies, and by refusing to be intimidated, Lithuania has positioned itself as a frontline defender of European freedom. The world may have overlooked Lithuania before, but now it cannot be ignored. This bold step is not only protecting its own people, but also reshaping the strategic balance of Eastern Europe. In an era where aggression and intimidation threaten to redraw borders, Lithuania has drawn a line, literally and symbolically, that says to Russia and the world, we are ready, we are strong, and we will not be broken.